Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network. We are back with ADAC and to talk more today about their mission, which overall is empowering K through 12 educators to really meet the learning needs of all students. And excited to have the team back here to talk more about their systems, their network's capacity, and of course, how they're helping so many proactively with teaching, learning, educating, coaching, special education, and fundraising. So let's first and foremost, welcome back to the show, Tom Olson, Chief Executive Officer and co-founder. How are you today?
I am well, Jill. Great to be back with you, and I hope you and your family had a wonderful Easter celebration.
Thank you so
Whatever celebration
much.
may have transpired for you this weekend. So,
Thank you. Same here. And we are excited to have our special guest here today. So, would you mind introducing some of the other team members today before we get started?
absolutely, very happy to introduce to you, Jill, today the founders of the Think Tank and Michael Nickram and Dr.
Hmm.
Matt Nicholas. I've known personally, Michael and I have known each other for well over a decade. And so we kind of were friends before we became partners. And we were very happy about the partnership, both ADAC and the think tank, and particularly the think tank's focus on student success in mathematics. And of course, that's what Matt and Michael will certainly talk to us about. But I'll just have Michael
Yeah.
pass the baton over to Michael to introduce himself. And then Michael, you could do the same for Matt.
Yeah, of course. Jill, first of all, thank you so much. It's great to meet you. Really excited to be on today. It's our privilege to work with ADAC in this partnership. A little bit about myself is actually, I met Tom a while back. I was actually, long story short, studying to be a priest, fell into education during that time, and was a teacher and an administrator. Absolutely loved it, but ended up leaving and going into the business world. Became very, very successful in the business world, but really felt a calling to do something that's deeper than that and focus on the future and focus on our students. So left a very successful career and a lot of future potential to help work with the think tank and to create this program. It's been an unbelievable experience. We're excited to tell you about it. And then through that process, I met my business partner, Matt Miklius, who is the much smarter of the two of us. I'm Ed McMahon, and he's the guy that's really running the show. So I look forward to him talking about his experience, his PhD, and all that. So thanks again.
Great. Thank you so much. All right, Dr. Nicholas, please introduce yourself.
Yeah, thank you. So my educational background, academic background is I did my undergraduate at Seton Hall University, studied physics and math, went on to Northwestern University where I did my PhD in applied mathematics. And it was while I was at Northwestern that I was teaching in a classroom setting. I taught engineering classes ranging from engineering analysis 1 all the way up to 4. And I taught a number of calculus programs as well. And during that time, I started tutoring and just working with individual students at Northwestern, also in the Chicagoland area. And I realized that God was putting a call on my heart that this is something I really wanted to do with my life, wanted to work with kids individually. This was something that was more fulfilling than what I thought I wanted. And so I would meet people at Starbucks, the library, sit at their dining room table. No joke. Nobody uses the dining room table, so they just do tutoring there, I guess. That was the dining room table, the tutoring center for a while. And we've grown the business over time. We've been in business for about 15 years now. We've grown the business to over 20 employees. And we have a full state-of-the-art tutoring center and lots of great people here working at the think tank now. We've had amazing success stories with our students going to all the top schools you could possibly imagine: Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Stanford. We've actually had 20 different students get perfect ACT or SAT scores. Students that we've worked with have earned 50 million plus in scholarships. And we've had just a wealth of experience teaching at the individual level and a classroom level here at the think tank.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And now we want to talk about the think tank. If someone's listening, they may not even know what it is. I want to know the history, the overview, and of course, we'll have Matt and Michael get into the work in this K through 12 education space. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. So, we really specialize in middle school and high school students. We specialize in math and science education. We specialize in test prep education. And it was really through all this work that we discovered the need that we have tried to fill the math gaps. We've seen that students at any level of math, no matter what that level is, they may be a high level student who's taking calculus, they may be a student who's struggling through algebra 1. Very often, these students are struggling with skills that are foundational and below the current level that they're at. And those are the things that are holding them back from success at that current higher level that they're at today. And so that was the real impetus for why we created the Fill the Math Gaps program, understanding that students are struggling with things that they ought to have learned by now, but don't seem to have down. And that's where the name Fill the Math Gaps comes in. And that's what we're trying to do.
All right. Did you want to piggyback on that a little bit, Michael?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, at the end of the day, it's really interesting is that when you hear the word math, you automatically, and I even automatically thought, oh my gosh, that's unattainable. I don't want to deal with a math problem. I just do not want to deal with math problem. But math is really about life. What math is, and the more that I get into it, the more that I absolutely love it, it's about taking a simple problem or a complex problem really and breaking it down. It's not about linear functions. It's not about x squared. It's not about exponents or anything. It's about taking a problem and simply breaking it down. And what we're seeing across the country is a breakdown of those critical thinking skills.
Mm-hmm.
And it's overwhelming. We worked with the school that we were talking with a couple weeks ago, and they came to us and they said, "Hey, Michael and Matt, our high school students are actually testing at a 5th grade math level. Like these are the challenges that are going on." And so that's why we helped develop this tool, and we're expanding the tool as well, is to address a systemic problem that's going on across the country. This is not about teachers failing. It has nothing to do with this. This is about challenges that we across really the globe, but especially in this country, have faced. And part of it has been the pandemic, and part of it has been a number of different things. But we came together, Matt and myself, to develop this software. And basically, it's not just a software, but it's also interactive with us. This is a partnership that we've developed. And the software, it enables students to look at individual problems and do what I just talked about, is problem solve. We're not going to talk about algebra, statistics, any of that kind of stuff. I mean, we will, we definitely do, but it's about taking a problem and just dissecting it. And that's what I love about it. It's about math in life. So anyways, I'm very passionate about this. We've worked with students. One student we work with, in fact, and Matt can talk about some others, but one student we work with, he was getting like a D in his geometry class. And then he took 9 weeks of just this program and ended up getting a B+ and acing his final.
Wow.
We have tons of these success stories. I mean, one of the schools we worked with, the middle school we worked with, they got their highest standardized scores they've ever gotten, ever, in the history of the school, and they were 18 points above the average mean. Basically, it just means they hit it out of the park. And we are so proud to be part of that experience because we're partnering with these schools in the development of this software and application. So I've spoken too much, Chill. I'm sorry.
No, you're on a roll. It's great. Thank you.
I really
And I
love
know
this
we're going to talk a little more about fill the math gaps and address middle and high school learning, but also just quickly, any current trends that you would say here in the middle and high school math education that we are seeing that we should make everyone aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, Jill. I'll step in on that one. So I think a good way to think about higher education and secondary education is that the policies and the trends established in higher education tend to trickle their way down to secondary education and then to the middle school level. And so the standards set by the higher education institutions, the universities, those standards tend to trickle down to high school and then to middle school. And one of the things that we're seeing nationwide right now is that top colleges are returning to requiring tests for admissions. So for a while post-pandemic, ACT, SAT scores, they weren't being required. But the top colleges have sent the signal, with many big ones falling lately, UT Austin, Yale, Dartmouth. They've all gone back to requiring tests for this coming year and beyond because they realize that something's going on underneath the surface that's not preparing students for the university level, and they don't have the level of readiness in particular with math that they need to be successful there. So the colleges are requiring the test once again because they need to see what's going on at the high school level and make sure students are ready. So what you've seen is that in the last few months, there have been reports from both the ACT and College Board, which runs the SAT, that the test scores are the lowest they've been in over 30 years. So nationwide test scores are the lowest they've been in over 30 years. And in particular, they're lowest they've been in math. Meanwhile, GPAs for high school students, middle school students are higher than they've ever been. And so there's a decoupling that's been going on where students are getting through classes, but they're down at this level. And meanwhile, they need to be at this level to get ready for high school. There's this decoupling going on, and that's where the tests come in. So schools are going back to requiring these tests, and that's why we've been building out this program, because we've realized there are these gaps underneath the surface that students are not ready for the challenges that they're facing.
And just
And that's
curious,
what we need to address.
has anything drastically changed with our ACTs and SATs, with the way they're running the tests in general? Just curious.
It's a great question. No, not changed at all. I mean, the tests have always been normed and standardized, hence the name, right? And I've been taking these tests for years. I've taken more ACTs than you would ever want to imagine. But they've been basically the same. And that's the real challenge. It's the sad thing, because at the end of the day, this is about individual students. And what we're seeing is nationwide, the scores are lower. But what that really tells the story of is a bunch of individual students who are struggling to get ready for the challenges that are going to face them.
And also, what about, I'm new to I've done my Calc 1, Calc 2 back in the day. We're talking 20 something years ago, but now my kids are in first and third grade, and there's this whole Common Core math. And I'm having trouble understanding my third graders' math homework. And a lot of the parents are too. Is it the way they're teaching it differently now, or do you think it's more along the lines of students not applying themselves, or has the learning process of math, for example, changed?
Yeah, it's a great question. And that could be probably 10 episodes of this podcast, Jill.
Okay.
What I would say in a nutshell is that we keep trying to change and find ways to address student needs, but we've been failing to do so, right? The proof is in the pudding. The test scores have gone down, and I don't know the cause. I don't know. There is no singular cause. It's probably a myriad of issues. But students are having trouble mastering the skills that we expect them to learn, and that they frankly need to learn if they want to be successful in higher level education, if they want to be successful in a whole number of different careers. So I don't think there's a single answer to that question, Jill, unfortunately, but I do think it's a problem that needs to be addressed differently than we're currently doing so now.
Got it. Well, the good news, Fill the Math Gaps is helping so many, right? So let's focus
Yeah,
on that if we can a little bit further.
yeah, absolutely. Michael, why don't you tell her a little bit about the Fill the Math Gaps program?
No, I think the thing that separates our program and kind of puts us apart is it's really the Fill the Math Gaps. It's a learning platform. It's innovative, but it's also supplemental. So what I really want to get out there is this is not here to replace teachers. You cannot replace that personal interaction. This is here to give teachers and students the tools they need to be successful. So, and really taking to the next level, what I like to say is, like, there was a lot of tools, and there still are, that are available to teachers. We want to take it a little bit of a step further. So we like to call ourselves the Netflix, if you will, of the math education apps. And a big part of that, and what makes us a little bit different in this program, is that we have 45 hours of video content that is TikTok style. So we did a lot of research on videos, on math videos. And let me tell you what, I've watched more math videos than anyone would want to, and fell asleep watching most of them. We ended up hiring someone who used to work at Entertainment Tonight and has had a lot of success in editing. And we wanted to take those videos to the next level. I think that makes us really different. The other thing that's really interesting with students sometimes don't learn the concept, or they don't learn the problem. They'll learn the concept. However, what we do is every single one of our videos specifically targets a skill, but also targets just that problem. So most systems out there, what you'll do is you'll get, they'll go over the video or the concept of, say, linear equations. But what we do is we focus on the specific problem and apply that to multiple cases. Anyways, I love it. What I love the most about it too is that we have themes to a lot of our videos. It keeps our students engaged and on the edge. The average student uses our application 32 minutes and 22 seconds, I think. Right before the podcast, I looked. Most other apps were looking at 10 to 15 minutes. Long story short is this is helping change the students' lives.
Yeah.
That's what I love about it. We had a teacher, her name's Fran. Awesome school. We absolutely love the mission of this school. And like I said, we'd like to be partners with them. And at the beginning, I'll tell you what, Jill, Fran was skeptical. She was like, listen, this is not necessarily part of my curriculum. You're asking me to do this program in class or for homework. Like, this is a lot. This is one more thing for me to do, Fran. This is the beginning of the year. By the end of the year, she wrote me a personal thank you saying, thank you for developing this software. This has impacted so many lives for my students, and I can see the improvement that my students are, that are displaying in class. I can't believe it, but I'm a believer, right? She became a believer. That same school that we worked with, their math proficiency went from a 31 to a 62%. So we almost doubled it.
Wow. So she's really crediting the think tank for sure. And I'm sure so many others to hear these success
Absolutely.
stories. And could you mind just giving us a little more of the role of the teacher playing, of course, the implementation of this and how it does work?
Yeah, absolutely. So to describe Fill the Math Gap simply, it's a student tool where students take quizzes, they interact with the program, and then they get instant feedback in the form of videos. Now, every student in a classroom is going to miss slightly different questions. And what happens with Fill the Math Gaps is they get a video lesson tailored to their specific needs. So what this tool does is it gives the teacher a whole lot of leverage to cover a range of topics that he or she is not going to have time to cover every day in class for all those foundational skills that his or her students are actually struggling with. So what the teacher's role is to still continue teaching the curriculum that they're working in school, but then to use Fill the Math Gaps to help patch up the holes or fill in the gaps, hence the name, that the students actually have. And so the teacher is still integral to the teaching process, but what we're doing is we're providing leverage for that teacher so he or she can access and reach out to all the different students in the classroom with really well done, really well produced, tailored lessons that are going to actually help fill the gaps that those students have.
Well, thank you for that. Let's also talk a little bit about how unique the Fill the Math Gaps course is. And by the way, just want to remind everyone who we're talking to how we can reach you all. So I know, Tom, the ADAC.com is good for you. What about for Matt and Michael?
www.thinktankprep.com. So think tank, TANKPREP.com. Is the means by which folks can go directly to the Think Tank website. Matt and Michael, I don't want to speak for you. It's your company. Did I get the right URL at least? Hopefully.
Yeah, you're great.
Good,
Yep,
good.
exactly right. And there'll be more information on Fill the Math Gaps and all our other programs on the thinktankprep.com website. So
Awesome. So let's continue then about really how unique this is and maybe how ADAC and the think tank partner and all this collaboration, obviously is helping so many.
certainly, yeah, certainly. So as I mentioned earlier too, the video content makes us very unique and the way that the videos are produced. So we've 45 hours and we keep improving and increasing that. A lot of our tracks, what happens with teachers is sometimes they have to pull out all these different skills and sub skills, and there is an element of uniqueness for each teacher. But what we've done is based on over 40,000 hours of research that we've done into this, is we've created 9 to 10 pre-curated tracks. So the teachers don't have to go in there and mess around with it. We have some developed tracks specifically for each grade year. The other thing that makes this very different is that we have a personal touch. I give every single one of our administrators my personal cell phone number, and no one else is going to do that. And that is because we believe this is a partnership. This is
Mhm.
not us giving you the software and leaving. And I've had a number of administrators give me a call if they're going through that. And finally, we have this partnership with ADAC, which is absolutely amazing. And what it gives us leverage to do is that we're, to use a big word, I don't like using big words, I'm not the smart one in this crowd, but it keeps us vertically integrated. And so all the way from, at least as far as math is concerned, all the way from the student to the superintendent or the district leader, we have people that can support you as far as mathematics curriculum, personal development, teacher development, and so on. So that's great. So we're very proud of this partnership. I like to think too, especially going back to some stories, is focusing on, I don't know if you've seen that movie, Jill, The Karate Kid, old
Of
movie.
course, I know Ralph Macchio.
Yeah.
He's a
Oh,
fellow Long
okay.
Islander. Yes, yes, he lives 20 minutes away from us, actually.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
Love
So
it.
so uh, anyways, we like talking about the Karate Kid because that's how we feel this program is with our students, that we interact with our students is, they talk about it in the Karate Kid, okay, they'd go out and say, sweep the deck, buff the cars, paint the fence, and
Wax on, wax off.
right, wax on, wax off.
Yeah.
But Ralph Macchio's character didn't know that at the time.
hmm
That's what we're trying to do with our students is we're giving them this myriad of different problems, and then all of a sudden, then they're ready. And it's not just ready for the standardized test, they're ready for life because they know how to break problems down. So, anyways, there we go, Joe.
Yeah, and our partnership with the think tank has been really obviously wonderful for ADAC because, Jill, as you know, what ADAC specializes in is working directly with teachers and school leaders to really improve education so that, again, all students, without respect to any learning differences they might have, can be served well by our clients and by their schools and by their communities. And has been wonderful about working with and partnering with the think tank is that we've been able to address with this partnership and by means of this partnership a very specific problem in a very specific area, which is, of course, the gaps in math, which has been and continues to be, as Michael and Matt have conveyed, a problem. And so what's nice about our partnership, among other words that could be used, is the fact that there's confluence. The services that ADAC offers to teachers, supporting teachers, is dovetailed with the real support that Matt and Michael and the think tank are able to offer to students in terms of helping students to ultimately perform better in math. And when it comes to, for example, professional development for teachers, data is so important as well. And in particular, data regarding student success and student outcomes. And the wonderful thing about Think Tank as well is it provides the data that teachers really need and
hmm
rely upon to figure out, okay, how can I utilize in my classroom some of the best practices, such as differentiation? How can I use in my classroom other means and manners by which the performance of each of my students can be helped along in virtue of the data that's being utilized to help me as the teacher to really figure out the best ways to help individual students. And so for us at ADAC, it's been, again, a wonderful marriage because
hmm
we're able to directly work with students even indirectly through, of course, the program that Matt and Michael have put together.
Beautiful. And what would you say is most important for students' math challenges to be addressed super early, right? I'm assuming earlier the better. Could you share a little bit about that before we go?
Yeah, absolutely. So we've been big on talking to and partnering and listening to the schools that we're working with this program. And one of the things that's been revealed to us over time, Michael alluded to earlier, is that even at the high school level, a lot of students are struggling with fifth, sixth grade math skills, right? Their struggles are deeper than we probably thought getting into this. And so we've been learning from those students, we've been learning from the schools, we've got to go to a lower level. What we've been finding is that when you work with the students at a lower level, you can help their formation, you can help their confidence that sticks with them long term. If you work with a high school junior who's at a fifth grade math level, they know something's wrong. They might not be able to define it exactly for you, but they know they don't feel so good about math. Math is a word like going to the dentist and getting a root canal, right? Math is the kind of thing that freaks them out. They
Scary.
don't want to participate. And so what we found is that as we get to these younger grade levels, we're able to build their skill set and their confidence that sticks with them long term. And see, that's the real magic of this is like Michael said, math is about prepping for life. And it's not that you're necessarily going to need to solve a quadratic equation when you're an adult. However, having the confidence that you can tackle that type of a problem systematically and break it down into its components, that is absolutely the kind of skill that you internalize that you can carry with you all over the place. And so we've been finding, again, work with the younger kids as often as possible. You can get them on the right track that's going to carry them far. And it's going to prevent some of those problems that you otherwise run into in the time they're a little bit older and
hmm
a little bit more resistant to working on math.
Beautiful. Well, of course, we like that earlier the better to get started. Now, also, the think tank provides some other services too. Do you want to elaborate on that?
Yeah, we're a full service tutoring, test prep, and college essay company. We help students in person, one-on-one. We help them online. We work with students from all over the country and especially in the Chicagoland area. We do ACT, SAT prep. We help with math, writing, physics, biology, chemistry, computer science, you name it. If it's something you learn in school, we help with it. We help students with the college application process. We help students kind of pick out where they want to go and what they want to major in. We help students all the way up to the time that they head off to college.
And for today, let's also mention the think tank and your partnership again with the ADAC and how you all are helping. Just curious, how many years of collaboration have you, had? When did you start working together?
Yeah,
It's been a couple of years, right, Michael and Matt?
yeah,
Yeah.
we're going on the third year.
Good year.
Yeah, it
And
started with a fateful Lou Malnati's pizza lunch here at the think tank
See,
years ago, Jill.
good spot, right?
Yeah.
All right. And well, for today, we're just about out of time. How did you kind of want to end off for today, Tom? Obviously, a great collaboration between your company and the think tank and great stories. If you want to share another success story, or let me just ask in general, how would you like to leave off for today?
I would just simply state that, it's a nice way to kind of go from the previous question that was asked was how long has our relationship been? We're going on to our third year, of course. And what ADAC has really tremendously valued about the think tank is the think tank's nimbleness and responsiveness.
Mm-hmm.
As the think tank was developing the Fill the Math Gaps program, and it's due, of course, to the brilliance of the think tank, in particular, Matt and Michael. They were in this process as they were working with us and we were working with them. What I was very impressed by was their responsiveness to fulfilling the mission. And the mission is, of course, to help these kids fill in the gaps so that they can be successful, not only in math, but also in life. And I was very impressed. My business partner, Steve Perla, was very impressed during the early part of our collaboration, where we saw how responsive and nimble to the needs of our clients the think tank was seeking to be through its Fill the Math Gaps program. So that would be
Beautiful.
how I would.
And if you go to the think tank's website, there's amazing success stories, which is great, and they're all on YouTube, right? You have
yeah,
some children speaking out, and wow, and teachers, and there's a lot of success stories there. I recommend everyone going to check them out as well. And if we do want to contact you, would you mind again sharing the best forms and the websites?
sure. Thinktankprep.com. You just go right there, and on there we'll also have links to our LinkedIn page, our Facebook,
Yep.
our YouTube, and all that other fun stuff. So thinktankprep.com. We really appreciate it again, Jill, and thank you so much. And to mirror what Thomas said, our partnership with ADAC has been unbelievable. It's through their partnership that this was developed. So we just thank them for that, and thank you for this opportunity to talk about something we love and we are so passionate about.
Well, thank you all for being here again. And today, Tom, let me just point out the ADAC.com, but could you also mention the foundation as well? It's always good to point out that website as well and what you do.
Absolutely. Yes.
Thank you.
www.theadac.com. That will link you to our private school website. Of course, there's a link there also to our public school website as well. And then in addition to that, we have ADAC Advocacy, www.theadac.com. So the ADAC Advocacy, all spelled out, .com. And as we've discussed in the past, and we'll continue to discuss in the future episodes with you, Jill, ADAC Advocacy's work is really on the advocacy side of ensuring that private school kids can fully participate and equitably participate in federal education programs.
All right. Well, thank you all for being here today, for joining us. Great conversation, great stuff. And I'm excited to learn more about this too. I'm going to check out more of those YouTube videos later that I saw before, because you got to think, you got to start young. You got to get them excited and motivated for math. And I'm worried now about my kids, getting into this field and how difficult math is, but it doesn't have to be that way. There's so much that you all could help with. And I love this collaboration. Thank you, gentlemen. We appreciate your time and look forward to next week as well. Thank you.
1 in 5 children in the United States have learning differences, making it more challenging than ever to be a teacher or school leader. At ADAC, we empower K-12 educators to meet the learning needs of all students through customized professional development and coaching services. Learn more at www.theadac.com. That's THEADAC.com.
Broadcasting from the business capital of the world, this is the Podcast Business News Network.
For nearly 2,000 severely injured veterans, everyday life has become filled with barriers.
Day-to-day simple tasks can become pretty daunting.
I have to carry my chair up 2 flights of steps or have somebody do it for me.
What scares me the most is just the falling.
When I'm struggling with my house, I think, to have that one great barrier just knocked down, I mean, it's crucial.
Home for Our Troops is a wonderful nonprofit that builds a
mortgage-free, fully adaptive, handicap-accessible house.
And there's no catch.
It'll be our very first home that we've ever owned. This is a game changer.
This is where your life begins again.
We need you to join us in completing this important mission. Please visit hfotusa.org and help build homes and rebuild lives.
Because of you, everything's going to be okay.